in this video, I want to be underwriting the most recent seller finance deal that I went under contract with as of this morning. And the reason why I committed to buying this deal, even though it was not a good deal, right? And you might be wondering, why did Kevin buy a deal that is not a good deal for him? And guys, obviously, when you're underwriting a deal, you got to look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie, and the numbers is obviously the most important thing. But there are a few things when you're underwriting a seller finance deal specifically that you have to factor into the equation, and I'll be breaking that down in the video. Like, imagine nobody else is really talking about this, with exception of maybe one or two other people. I think this is something that everybody will get value out of if you just stay till the end. All right, I'll be doing the most basic underwriting, but there's if you just make one tweak in your underwriting process on a seller finance deal, this will change the trajectory of how many properties you buy. Okay, so let's get to it. Just for the sake of this video, because I went under contract to buy the house, I didn't necessarily close it. I will not be disclosing the address, nor will I be sharing the settlement statement. I do that on every single property that I have and that I own, because I have nothing to hide. But in this case, I just went under contract with it, like I said, and I don't want to jeopardize the deal. So let's just say, for the sake of this example, let's just say 123 Main Street is the house. And the house was in Phoenix, Arizona. It was about 10 minutes from where I was living. And I live in Arcadia area here in Phoenix. All right, so 123 Main Street. And when you're underwriting a seller finance deal, there's 5 things that you really have to consider looking at. Number one, purchase price. How much are you buying the house for, right? And this is important, but not really that important. And everything, and all 5 of these, and all five of the terms are important, but not one is so important than the other, right? So purchase price, let's just say, is how much you're buying, how much the homeowner is selling you the house for. And typically you can do that by Zillow, running comparables, which we will call that comps, and just basically what the seller wants. And the best part about it is that when you're buying a house on seller finance, the purchase price is really not that relevant. Yes, it's relevant. You don't want to buy a house that's worth 200,000. You don't want to buy for 300,000 because you're paying 33% markup on the house. And guys, you don't like you're paying way more. I might go up 10% more on a purchase price usually, but I try my best to not go over 10% on the purchase price. So if the house is if the house is worth 200, I may pay $220,000, but that's the highest I will. And obviously it's like a lever, right? If the purchase price is, 10% above, but it's a 0% interest rate, that might justify it. But if it's 10% above 10% above the purchase price, but the homeowner is asking for 8% interest rate, that's like, whoa, let's slow down here. All right. So number one, purchase price, very, very self-explanatory, very easy. And number 2 is obviously the down payment, right? Every time you go buy a house, whether it's seller finance, traditional financing, conventional, DSCR loan, you have to put some sort of down payment. And what is the purpose of a down payment? The purpose of the down payment is for security for the lender. On an FHA, if you're buying a house on FHA, a government-backed loan, you can put as little as 3.5% down. VA loan, another government-backed loan, you can put 0% down. Conventional financing, you can put it, as little as 5% down, all the way up to 20% down. I mean, then these are just basic loan products. But on seller finance, for example, you can actually negotiate this with the seller however you want, really, right? So sometimes you ask the seller, hey, how much do you want down? And I've gone as little as like 3% down on a house on a seller finance, but then I also went as high as 15% down, right? And depending on how good the deal is, you can go 3% down, 15% down, 30% down, 40% down. It really depends on how good the deal is at the end of the day, right? So 3% down is how much is the lowest I paid, and I paid up to 15% down. And the third important thing is the interest rate. And honestly, if there's one thing that I really look at more out of the 5, will be interest rate, right? Because interest rate will dictate how much your payment is, how much your monthly payment is. So back in 2020, 2021, and beginning of 2022, the interest rates were like 2%, 3%, 4%. Like, they were incredibly low. And in 2023 and 2024, where we are today, the interest rate on the house is now upwards of 6%, 7%. I've seen as high as 8%, and I've seen like 1 one house that's sold at 9% interest rate, right? So the interest rates, they vary a lot, right? And when you're doing subject to transactions, it benefits you a lot because you can take advantage of the low interest rate that the homeowner got back in 2020, 2021, and 2022. But now if you're to do subject to, and you take over loans that originated back in 2023 and 2024, you have high interest rates, and those are not the interest rate that you want to take over. Though ideally 2%, 3%. My portfolio is, I think when I did the calculation, my average portfolio is 3.4%. And mind you, I got all these loans back in 2023. When the rates were 6.7%, I was getting loans at 3.4 because I was utilizing the strategy called subject to. And that's a conversation for another day. I have so many videos talking about subject to, and that is something that you can always go watch another video about. All right. So interest rate is, in my opinion, probably the most important thing out of the 5 terms that I'll be talking about. Obviously, the first one was purchase price, second was down payment, third one was interest rate. And I personally do not want to pay any more than going rate minus 1%, right? This is just my personal underwriting process. And I think if you follow this rule, you would generally win. Okay. I'm gonna at the end of this video, I'm going to be giving you kind of like guideline on how much you should pay in terms of purchase price, down payment, and all these things. But for interest rate specifically, I do not think anybody should be paying more than going rate minus 1%. So right now, the going rate on conventional financing is 7.9. And I don't think anybody should be paying over 6.9% on their house. Because here's the thing is, there's homeowners that will seller finance you their house at 0%, 2%, 3%, 4%. And you're gonna go out and find you're gonna go out and find a 6.9% interest rate on a seller finance. Like, I guarantee you can find better deals if you just waited a little bit more, right? So for me, going rate minus 1% is typically the highest I would go. Okay, obviously 0% of seller financing is the way to go. If I can get 0%, I would do that deal all day, every day. Number 4 would be amortization schedule. This is not so important, and this is very rarely a conversation, but I still want to bring it up. Most of the loans, VA, FHA, conventional loans, like 99.9% of them are scheduled for 30 years. Some of them are scheduled for 15 years, but majority of the time, the homeowners, all these loans are scheduled for 30 years amortization. And that is the industry standard. Number 5 is balloon. If the homeowner is seller financing you a house for 30 years, but you come to find out they're like 60 years old, most of the time, the homeowner will say, hey, can you pay me off in 10 years? Right? And that's what you call a balloon, right? So you make payments for year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth, up all the way up to year 30. You're scheduling the payment every single month, right? These are like monthly payments. You pay year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then the homeowner say, at 10-year mark, can you give me the remaining balance on my loan, right? So if you started off the house for 300,000, and in 30 years, you're gonna have $0 on your mortgage because you paid it off for 30 years. But at 10-year mark, you might have probably close to, I'll say, $220,000 left on the loan, and the homeowner and the seller or the lender will ask that you pay the $220,000 upfront. And typically, in this case, what you want to do is you want to refinance the house, or you want to just sell the house, or you can just come up with your own cash if you're a baller. And the lowest I would go on a balloon is 5 or 7 years. And I'm going to explain why. Let's just say the homeowner says, hey, Kevin, can you pay me off in 4 years? Meaning, can I give you a 4-year balloon? I'm like, okay, well, let's run the math. Right? So let's just say in 4 years, your remaining balance on the loan is, let's just say, 270,000. But something major happens to the market where the house you might have bought it for 300,000 and it drops all the way down to $260,000. Right? So the house is worth $260,000 if you were to just sell on the market traditionally, but you owe $270,000 to the lender, meaning that you have to come up with additional money, $10,000 plus agent commission and all these things, just to pay off the seller. Versus if you had additional, 3-year bump, right? Because typically real estate cycle is 7 years. If you had that entire market cycle, maybe the house is worth 260 at year 4, but when you wait 3 more years and the house jumps back up in price all the way to 320, you might be able to, safely exit out of this balloon, which is reason why I do not recommend anybody to do balloons less than 7 years. All right, just don't question it, just don't do it, right? Well, Kevin, what if it's no, just don't do it. Just don't do it. Because there's exceptions to every rule, and I just think any balloons that's less than 7 years, I just don't feel comfortable doing it. Okay, but out of all the terms that we discussed, the number one, purchase price, down payment, interest rate, amortization schedule, and the balloon, the most important thing when you're underwriting a seller finance deal is not even all those 5 things. The most important thing, at least for me, when I'm underwriting a seller finance deal. Hey guys, real quick, I'm going live every single week in my school community to help answer everybody's questions because number one, I can't get to every single one of them in a timely manner. So click the link down in the description box below and I will personally help answer your questions. Is how many houses does this homeowner have? That is the most important thing when I underwrite a seller finance deal. If the homeowner has less than 5 houses, I will not buy from this homeowner. And it is as crazy as it sounds, I will not buy a seller finance deal from a homeowner that has less than 5 houses because this homeowner, my intention when I first got into real estate was never to do one deal. I wanted to build a portfolio. I wanted to build an empire, and I'm not gonna mess with homeowner that has 5 houses. I want, like, at the bare minimum. So the house that I went under contract today, this was a deal. I bought the house for $280,000. This was a purchase price, and then $28,000 was a down payment, which is 10%, and then it was 6% interest rate. Not the best, but it was okay. And then 7-year balloon, 30-year amortization. If you're just looking at this deal just as a deal, it is not the best deal. The payment on this house, the PI payment, is $1,511. Taxes and insurance on this house is about $120, and HOA is $300. So my monthly payment on this house is $1,931, and I could probably rent it out on midterm rental for maybe $2,300. This is not a very good deal for me. I could get better deals anywhere else, but the only reason I decided, you know what, let me buy this house was because when I spoke with the seller, this seller has 23 houses that they're looking to sell only on seller finance. The first deal was the worst deal that I would ever do with this seller. And I said, second deal, third deal, fourth deal, I expect the deals to get better and better and better. That's what I told the seller. I said, the first deal, I'm buying this house on seller finance from you. This is not a great deal, seller, but I'm only buying it because my hope is that as we do more business down the road, that I get to buy better deals from you as deal 1 closes, deal 2 closes, 3, 4, and 5. And by the time we get to house number 23, I might even get 0 money down, 0% interest rate. Who knows, right? But the first deal is always, I call this the trial deal, right? This is just a trial. Hey, does Kevin have the ability to make the mortgage payment? Is he going to default on me? So what I had to do to get this deal, and I will not do this with any other sellers. I would only do this with sellers that have more than 5 houses, right? The seller is obviously who's going to be a lender. Their position is going to be now a lender, right? Because they're seller financing the house. The sellers need to do their due diligence as well. Would you agree that this homeowner has no clue who I am? This homeowner has to be able to know who I am and know how much money I make and all those things. So this is the documents that I had to bring to the seller. They said, give me 12 months of bank statements, right? 12 months of bank statements. Number 2, tax returns, last 2 years. Number 3, credit report. Number 4, background check, just to make sure that I did not kill anybody. And number 5, eviction history. If I had any eviction in the past, the homeowner wanted to do this. Wow. The homeowner was asking for these documents. And guys, most of the time, when you're doing a seller finance deal, I will not give all these documents away, because most of the time, if the homeowner is asking for all these documents, I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll just go find a different deal where the seller is not going to ask for it. But for me, I have nothing to hide. I have a great credit score. I have never missed a mortgage payment. I barely have any debt. I have a clean background. I think I might have 2 speeding tickets, which I still need to take care of. And then I've never been evicted, and we have healthy bank statements, right? So I had the confidence to show the seller, hey, these are what I'm willing to give you, right? And the homeowner looked at it and they're like, all right, I feel confident in working with you on the first deal. And the only reason, and I want to just hammer this home because everybody's kind of missing the whole point. The only reason why I decided to do this deal was because this homeowner had 23 houses that they told me that they will sell to me on seller finance. Well, Kevin, what happens if they don't? Well, if they don't, at least I gave it a try. Welcome to business. There's so many times where a promise has been made and it does not get fulfilled in business world. But honestly, I'm taking his word for it. I don't have under contract that he will seller finance me his entire portfolio. But when I have a good trust with this homeowner, I promise you, I will buy his entire 23 houses. And I also want to add this one more thing. In 2023, I did 90 different sub-2 deals. 90 different sub-2 deals, meaning 90 different sellers, 90 different agents, 90 different problems, 90 different personalities, you name it. I had to deal with all this different stuff. But if your end goal, if you're watching this video and everybody's end goal is to build a portfolio, do you want to go buy 90 different subs from 90 different sellers with 90 different problems? Or do you want to buy 23 different houses from one seller and have only 10 sellers that you work with in your entire life? And guess how many of the sellers that I buy 90 different sub-2 deals from brought me a second deal? Not a single one of them brought me a second house that I could buy a house sub-2. I had 2 agents that sold me a second sub-2 deal, but I never had one seller that sold me their house subject to sell me their second house. Because most of the time, the sub-2 sellers, they only have one house. 85 to 90% of the time, sub-2 sellers, they only have one house. And guess what? Once you buy that house, you have to go find another seller. And this deal that I went on under contract as of today, that has 23 different houses, guess who brought me that deal? It was a real estate agent, right? And he's representing me on the buyer side of things for 2% on every single one of them. And on this deal, he'll probably make $5,500. But if you really think about it, that's not $5,500 that he's gonna make on this deal. It's 5,500 times 23, which is roughly $126,000. So if you are a real estate agent and you find a buyer that buys houses on seller finance like me, you just need to find one seller that is open to selling their houses on seller finance and connect them with me, represent me on every single deal. And you literally just, this relationship alone is worth $126,000. And let's just say you had 10 of those in 1 year. You could, I mean, this is $1.26 million with 10 relationships. In my opinion, I think that's pretty worth it. And even if you're a wholesaler, you could still do the same thing, right? I just paid on my last seller finance deal that I bought, I paid $9,000 in assignment fee. And guess what? This wholesaler will make $9,000 assignment fee on the next 18 houses that I buy from the same exact homeowner, right? So this Tom, I'm sure you guys know at this point, Tom, he's got 18 houses on that he's looking this house sell on seller finance over the next 24 months, right? So 9,000 times 18, this wholesaler will make $126,000 of assignment fee with just one relationship. You do not have to keep pursuing a different deal after different deal after different deal, because when you are focusing your business around seller finance, whether you are a real estate agent, or whether you're a wholesaler, or whether you are a buyer like myself that buy deals just like this, you want to have more repeat businesses, because every single time you go out and find another deal, it's going to cost you money, time, and energy. But once you do the first deal, second deal with the same seller, easier. third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 9, 10. So guys, this is something that nobody else is talking about when they're underwriting a seller finance deal. Everybody looks at it from a logistical perspective, but they're not looking at it from, okay, how many houses can I buy from this one seller? All right. So guys, please. And by the way, let me share this with you so that you guys know what I'm looking to buy. I am looking to buy seller finance deals in Arizona, Las Vegas. And as of today, we just have opened up another market, and it's in Nashville, Tennessee. We will buy seller finance deals in 3 different states, and we pay hefty assignment fee. And I want everybody to be making assignment fee or commissions on every single house that I buy. All right. So how do you send deals to me? You send deals to me to Kevin Cho 2911 at gmail.com. Okay. That is Kevin Cho 2911 at gmail.com. You email me the deal. I will give you an answer within 24 hours as to if I'm a buyer or not. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know this is very this is, I don't know what time it is. I think it's like 11 o'clock at night. We're super late, but I wanted to make this video last minute because I want everybody to make a lot of money and eventually build your own portfolio, right? Why do I do all this work? So that everybody that's watching my video can succeed and make lots of money and build their portfolio, retire their family, and live a great life. All right. So guys, keep crushing it. I love every single one of you guys. And honestly, subscribe to this channel if you got something out of this video. All right. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you guys are looking to join a school community where I personally answer everyone's questions, make sure you click the link down in the description box below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.